What it do, family and friends? Welcome back to the Church of Black Power. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you'll be notified whenever videos like this drop. Please make sure you're hitting that like and share button so we can beat up the algorithm. Make sure we get this message out to the ears that need to hear. And please make sure, if you have not done so yet, to hit that link in the description and go put your signature on the petition for reparations. And with that being said, family and friends, I wanted to get this video out to you yesterday. It is Thursday, September 5th at the time of me recording this. I wanted to get this out yesterday. However, as I explained to you all some time ago, pretty soon I was going to be moving into a new podcast studio. And yesterday was the first day in that studio. And with all the time it took me to not just set up the OBS how I like it and all this other stuff so that I can, bring forth the information, screen share and all that other stuff. By the time I did all that, we then found out that we wasn't getting any sound through the OBS through our headphones, even though the sound was actually working on the machine. So there's been some issues with the new Rode, and we're working on that. So family, just, be patient with me, because like I said, the new studio is going to be more primarily for doing live broadcasts with you guys. So please just hold tight, that's coming. But in the time that since the last time we spoke, we've had the DNC come and do their conference in Chicago. Well, not come, because I'm not in Chicago, but they went to Chicago to do their conference. And there's just been a lot of things going on in between that time and now. And I want to kind of talk about it because it's very important to understand what was happening at the DNC and what happened just a few days ago in California with them shutting down two of the most predominant reparations bills that we've seen to date. So, with that being said, family and friends, I want to show a quick highlight of what happened at the DNC convention, the conference, just so we can be on the same page, caught up a little bit, because like I said, it happened a few weeks ago. So here's the clip.
On behalf of everyone whose story could only be written in the greatest nation on earth, I accept your nomination to be President of the United States of America.
Okay, so listen. It's come to my attention that there are some folks who struggle or pretend to struggle.
Real quick, family, I just want to say this. Please don't let it go over your head that the skank from Scandal, which is about what, family? Which is about what? A black woman in the position to be around the president, who ends up making that president her zaddy and all this other stuff. Now, I don't watch Scandal, never watch Scandal, don't give a damn about Scandal, but you have to understand the little nuances, the little invisible jabs that they throw at you, the whole metaphorical sense of what they're trying to tell you and what they're trying to show you. It was no mistake that they chose Kerry Washington to be one of the announcers / speakers or whatever. And family, I'm not going to go through all the speakers and stuff like that. That's why I picked this highlight reel rather than actually playing all the different idiots who went up capping for Kamala Harris, throwing on that cake for Kamala Harris, like your Michelle Obamas and things like that. I'm pretty sure y'all seen enough of those videos, so that's why I selected the highlight. because I want to get to the meat of what I'm talking about today. I want to get to the meat. So let's get back into it. But I just wanted you guys not to allow that to fly over your head, that they chose the chick from Scandal to try to come out and, you know, speak up for Kamala.
It's come to my attention that there are some folks who struggle or pretend to struggle with the proper pronunciation of our future president's name. So, hear me out. Confusion is understandable. Disrespect is not. And what are you here to do?
To teach you how to say your auntie's name.
Now notice what they did, family. They brought out the half black, half Indian children of Kamala's sister. Of her sister. And y'all know what I say all the time. Show me her black relatives. Show me her black relatives. This wouldn't count. Because these are her extended relatives. And they made sure to trot them out. To use them as props for their aunt's presidential campaign. Don't let that go over your head either. Let's continue.
Okay, so how do you pronounce it?
First you say comma like a comma in a sentence. Then you say la like la 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 la.
Let me ask you this, family. Have you ever been to a conference or seen a conference where they have the attendees doing some nonsense like this? Usually what happens at a conference is that, you know, you go, you speak about different policies behind the scenes, and then when you go to the grand stage, the grand stage becomes a place where you go to tell everybody those policies that you guys have been working on behind the scenes. They found it more important to bring up these children in order to teach everyone how to pronounce Kamala's name right. Where do you see this, family? They play in our faces, and they don't do this to nobody else. To tell you the truth, that's what this whole DNC conference was, to be honest with you. You might as well call it the DNC presents the roast of Donald Trump. Because that's exactly what you got here. You got a lot of people jumping up on stage, bigging up Kamala Harris, pretending that her record don't exist, all while talking smack, hammering down, and roasting Donald Trump. And all the bots in the crowd is just applauding and screaming and participating. Let's continue, family.
Groceries, gas, housing, healthcare, taxes, abortion. Trust Donald Trump and JD fans to look out for your family? Shoot, I wouldn't trust them to move my couch.
In many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man. But the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in the White House are extremely serious.
The Republican Party is no longer conservative. It has switched its allegiance from the principles that gave it purpose to a man whose only purpose is himself. Donald Trump is a weak man pretending to be strong.
Now, family, when I said this is nothing but the roast of Donald Trump, that's all it is. The DNC presents the roast of Donald Trump. And I saw the one that they did on Comedy Central, because, you know, that's a DNC platform too. They didn't hold any punches on this one. They just came straight out, calling them all kinds of names, disrespecting them, making a bunch of allegations. That's all this was. But nowhere did the DNC, nowhere did anyone in the DNC, not one of them, did they speak about actual policy and how the policy is going to come about. How is Kamala going to get those votes needed in the Senate or in the House in order to get things passed? How Kamala would actually deal with foreign entities? How would Kamala deal with the issue of inflation? And what steps she would take to make sure that that actually would get taken care of? We don't hear any of this. All we hear is political fluffing of a candidate. And then we hear the demonization of Donald Trump all over again. Over and over and over, they're trying to hammer these demonized thoughts of Donald Trump into your head, into your skull. And y'all know I'm no fan of Donald Trump. But let's be 100% real with this. That's what they're trying to do. It's called propaganda. If you say something enough, eventually some people will start to believe it. But notice they're not giving anything tangible or speaking about anything tangible when it comes to their voter base. They're not speaking about any real black issues. The only time you heard black throughout this DNC conference was when they were speaking about how black Kamala Harris was. Even though the general consensus on the situation is that she's not. The only people that still call her black is the people that cape for the DNC, who are a part of the DNC, or who are being paid by the DNC. Luke. These are the only people that still caping for her, are saying that she's black. D.L. Hughley, Steve Harvey, these are the only people, and the people that they're paying, the social media presences that they're paying on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and anywhere else. But the general consensus within the black grassroots, the real black community, the over 45 million of us, we all know that she's not black, but that's the only time that you heard black during this whole conference, is when they were trying to explain how black Kamala is. Let's continue.
He is a small man pretending to be big. He's a faithless man pretending to be righteous.
I will be a president who unites us around our highest aspirations. A president who leads and listens, who is realistic, practical, and has common sense, and always fights for the American people. From the courthouse to the White House, that has been my life's work.
This election is about every drop of water that we consume and every breath we breathe. Fighting the climate crisis is patriotic. And unlike Donald Trump, our patriotism is more than some damn slogan on a hat. It's about actually giving a damn about the people who live in this country.
Now, family. He said it's all about the people who actually live in this country. Then why are all of our resources going to people who aren't from this country? Why have our resources gone to the Ukraine, gone to Israel, gone to Gaza, gone to anywhere but here? And then when they are giving funds out here, they're giving it to illegal immigrants who never paid a lick of taxes. So our tax dollars are being used to take care of people that's not American citizens. But yet, this man right here just tried to literally say their patriotism is about the people who live here. Make it make sense, family. You can't make it make sense because it doesn't make sense. You cannot sit here and literally open your borders, drag in millions upon millions of illegal citizens, give them an economic floor, give them policies and programs that no one else in this country is getting, including the descendants of American slaves who built the country, that built the resources that they're actually using to do these things. And then turn your lying face to us and say that y'all the most patriotic and we're doing it for the people who live here. That makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely none. But this is the nonsense that they want you to believe. This is the nonsense that they were sending people up for 4 days trying to convince you all, should be the next administration for the next 4 years in the White House. All while showing you all exactly what they would do because they're already in the White House. So now they're trying to explain it away as if they're not doing this in a city nonetheless, Chicago, Illinois, where a lot of the migrants have been bus shipped. And Mayor Brandon Johnson out there has been giving billions of dollars of resources to illegals. This is how disrespectful they are to try to say that. But notice, they can only say it in a controlled environment. They can only say that if they have someone around them that they're paying to be on the payroll. They can only say that if they can get an anchor or somebody on that they pay for to interview them and they ain't got no hard questions. They can only do that because of the funding purse that they hold. They can only do that because of the fact they won't go to the black grassroots. These are the facts, family. Let's continue this video because it's almost over.
President Biden and I are working to end this war such that Israel is secure, the hostages are released, the suffering in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people can realize their right to dignity, security, freedom, and self-determination.
While she was saying all this, and it's still none of my business, don't think that I care, but while she just said all of that, apparently the Palestinians requested to have a Palestinian speaker, and the speaker was there. And the DNC changed their mind and said, you know what? No, we're not going to let you speak. So the Palestinians were out there protesting during the conference. But we were also out there protesting during the conference. And that's why the first night of the conference looked like this. It was so empty the first night of the conference. Everybody was wondering what the hell is going on. Well, apparently, there was so much activity during both protests that the buses that was carrying the delegates wasn't able to get through. Now, notice what I said. The buses that was carrying the delegates wasn't able to get through. Not the audience. So if you're looking at the screen right now and you're seeing how many empty seats are there compared to the amount of people who's there, which is a few hundred people, that few hundred people accurately depicts the people who are not tied to the DNC as delegates. These are the people who are registered Democrats. These are the people that are there to support the Democrats. And if you see how empty it is, they don't have very much support. Now, do they? Compared to the other 3 nights when the delegates was able to be there. You see, when you're looking at the actual support system of the Democratic Party, once you remove the delegates, right, you're able to actually look and see how many people they were actually able to draw. And unfortunately, looking at that, I don't even want to say unfortunately, fortunately, looking at it for what it is, they don't have much support. And I'm going to be telling you why a little bit later. A little bit later. Not too far out. Just a little bit later. Because what the DNC wants to do is give you cake and circus. Give you cake and circus. They want to give you cake and circus. They want to give you entertainment and give you cake to eat. So let's jump into this next piece here, because a lot of folks, in order to get people to engage with the DNC National Convention, a lot of folks started rumors stating that, you know, Beyonce was going to show up to the convention. And it just so happened that that rumor took place after, or got started after, the first night of the DNC. That's when it really started trending. And so you had a lot of your low thinking people, because that's what I gotta call you, a low thinker. Not even low vibrational. Low thinking is a lot lower than low vibrational for me. I believe that you have to be low vibrational in order to get into a place where you could think lower than what the average person would think. But the people who don't really use their mind as much, who glorify and idolize celebrities, they started showing their excitement for Beyonce being there. This is from someone who says Beyonce releasing a country album introduces the 2024 Olympic athletes and performs at the DNC. Me beginning to like this country. So all it takes is for the DemoRats, to put up a celebrity, and you got people who really don't need to be in these kind of spaces now try to jump into the space talking about now I'm starting to like the country. So all it takes is a Beyonce. If that's what it takes for you to get involved in politics, when your life is on the line when it comes to resources, politics is literally a fight for resources. That's it. Who's going to get what resources? There is no forgiveness in politics. I've said this several times. There is no permanent friends in politics, only permanent interest. And if it takes nothing but a Beyonce or whoever else to get put on a stage for you to give your vote or give your support to a candidate, you shouldn't be in this section, this area, in this space. You shouldn't, because you're not fighting for the interest of your people. You're fighting to be entertained. You're fighting to get the circus. You're fighting to get the circus. We asked for bread and you're fighting to get the cake. We need substance to live and you're fighting to get cake and entertainment. And this is where we are. And then, like, with the rumor being started, the DNC jumped all the way in with it. Right? Seen from day 2 at DNC, yes. The WA delegates, the WA delegation Beyonce cowboy hats are making a splash. So they started selling cowboy Beyonce hats with the rumor that Beyonce was going to be there. And was confirmed. She definitely was confirmed. I believe it was, excuse me. I believe it was TMZ. I believe it was TMZ that confirmed it. Don Lemon was all over the place talking about TMZ confirmed it. I went back to go get the clip of Don Lemon talking about how TMZ confirmed it, and the YouTube page deleted it. I tried to use the Wayback Machine to find it, and the Wayback Machine said they didn't even archive it. Which is strange, but it is what it is. But they jumped into it. They jumped all into it. Is Beyonce performing at the DNC final night? They wanted to make sure that the speculation would be on the final night because they wanted as many eyes on Kamala Harris's speech, who was also doing her speech on the final night, as possible. And a lot of people don't care about what Kamala has to say within the black community. So what did they do? They started trying to promote Beyonce for the final night of the DNC. That's what they did. And then when Beyonce wasn't enough, when they saw that there wasn't a lot of engagement from their napkin, their PC people, they started promoting what? DNC surprise guest. Beyonce said to be in Chicago as Taylor Swift rumors swirl. So since they saw that, the PCs wasn't getting too excited about Beyonce and they were kind of calling it out, all it takes is Beyonce, they say, you know what? Hold my beer. We're going to throw you some Taylor Swift rumors too. So not only did they use Beyonce's name, they used Taylor Swift's name because they know those are kind of the two biggest names in music right now when it comes to, I guess, in music right now, just period. I don't agree with Taylor Swift being there. But I know for a fact she's an artificial artist, and not that I like Beyonce at all. I really too much don't like Beyonce. However, I can say definitively she got there with her own talent. Now with Taylor Swift, can't really say that. She's a manufactured artist to me. But to many others, especially within the PC community, oh no, she's one of the biggest artists in the world. So yeah, they not only use Beyonce as a drawer, but they also use Taylor Swift's name as a drawer as well, knowing that neither one of them was going to be there. So, about that special musical guest, where was Beyonce for the DNC final? And I'm not trying to just hone in on this Beyonce situation because that's not even the most important part. The most important part is I want you to understand how desperate they are. But they're not desperate enough. They're so desperate that they rely on folks' names. Oh, who knows? Maybe they were speaking with Beyonce, but maybe, and this is my theory, I don't think that anybody would allow people to use their name for days or weeks, because the rumor was going around for weeks. I don't think anybody would allow someone to use their name, especially with a name like Beyonce, one of the biggest names in the industry, without consent. I would have had my publicist on the line the very day that the rumor started to let people know, oh no, I will not be there. I will not be there, and people shouldn't expect me to be there either. People shouldn't expect me to be there. That's what I would do. So my theory is that if they did get in contact with Beyonce, it wasn't to have her there. It was literally to entice people to watch the show, to use Beyonce's name, only to later say, oh, that was never the case. Because Beyonce could sue. You can't just use my name without my permission. I can sue you. So that's what makes me think that this was kind of the whole game that they were playing. That they say, you know what, Beyonce, we know that you're a busy woman. However, we want to pay you X amount of dollars to say you're going to be there on the fourth night. And as long as your publicist doesn't come out and speak against it, you'll still get the money. Now, y'all can talk about how you was never going to be there after the fourth night. But until then, let us pay you to use your name. That's how I see it. That's what I believe happened. But either way, they had to come out and say it. Beyonce was never scheduled to attend the 2024 Democratic National Convention, Rep says. So why did it take so long for the representative of Beyonce to come out and make this announcement? And it didn't come out until after the convention was over on the fourth night. Are you in the car with me, family? Are we driving down the right road? Because I believe that we're driving down the right road. We might be driving like a bat out of hell, but that's because we're not slow people. We quick enough to pick up on things like this. We're quick enough to pick up on things like this. So a lot of the folks was upset because when they was expecting a Beyonce, or they was expecting a Taylor Swift, they actually got something more along the lines of this.
And now, in a special tribute to the dances of Whitney Houston, please welcome superstar recording artist Pink. And now, in a special tribute to the dances of Whitney Houston, please welcome superstar recording artist Pink.
That's what they got, family. Pink. Yeah. Now tell me, Tariq Nasheed put up a post and it describes it perfectly. The DNC deliberately put out the rumor that Beyonce was going to perform at the DNC Convention 2024 so that people would tune in knowing that she was never booked to perform. And I 100% agree. But you know what they did do? You know what they did do? They had Kamala come out to a Beyonce song that actually represents foundational Black Americans. Now notice, family, the crowd size in comparison to the first night, let me run that back. The crowd size in comparison to the first night and their crowd size after several hours have gone by. If you look at these two differences, it is largely because of that rumor. I feel that more people filled that arena outside of the delegates. This is more of a Beyonce crowd than a Kamala Harris crowd. This is more of a Kamala Harris crowd if she gets a crowd. Not this. And you know, they did not, excuse me for a second, family. They also trotted out the Central Park 5. Tariq also brought this up as well. And he said the DNC brought out the Central Park 5. Excuse me. The DNC brought the Central Park 5 out at the DNC Convention 2024 to go in on Trump for putting out an ad against them. But the DA, Linda Fairstein, who unjustly charged them and had them locked up, is a Democrat and a longtime Democratic donor. She has donated to the Clintons and the Obamas. And then he puts up her donor records. And you can see Amy cut. Oh, okay. Yeah. She done donated to several different Democrats over. Okay. And so the one thing that the Democrats did offer to the people who attended or whoever just wanted to be around the area where the DNC was taking place, the convention was taking place. They brought out Planned Parenthood. They brought out Planned Parenthood. They brought out Planned Parenthood to give out free abortions and free vasectomies. Now, this is a very, very, very important part, family. It is very, very, very important because they offer us nothing as Black Americans but abortions and vasectomies. But abortions and vasectomies, they have no problem offering to us. But you don't see any of these abortion and vasectomy clinics set up at the border. You don't see any of these abortions and vasectomy clinics set up at the points of entry. So when Biden and Harris fly in 30,000 migrant illegals into the country per month, you don't see them anywhere near those ports so that when those people get off those planes, they go in there and get those abortions and, vasectomies. No, they only want me and you to kill our babies. They only want me and you to care about making sure we don't procreate, while they're allowing all these people from across the border, from Africa, from China, all these people to come in and either make babies or come in with their babies. But they cared more about putting the abortion and vasectomy clinics, or, because it was a blow-up clinic. They cared more about putting it in Chicago, where the Black folks roam, They wanted to put it in our realm. This is what the DNC has offered Black folk. This is exactly what they offered Black folk. Nothing. So you got some people after the DNC who heard all the speakers and was amplified by the new messaging. And you had people who were literally saying that's what they wanted from the DNC. They want mass immigration and they want all the actual citizens to be put out the country. Listen to this man here.
If I had my choice, in my perfect world, every Republican is out of the country and all the immigrants come in. That's what I want. It's never going to happen. That's what I want.
But we're all immigrants. We all came from somewhere else.
Right. So, if I had my choice, in my perfect world, every Republican is out of the country and all the immigrants come in. That's what I want. It's never going to happen. That's what I want.
But we're all immigrants. We all came from somewhere else.
Right. So.
Notice how the person said, we're all immigrants. We came from somewhere else. He said, right. This Black woman should have spoke up and said, no, we're not. Unless she herself is an immigrant. But Black Americans are not immigrants. Foundational Black Americans, the descendant of American slavery, we are not immigrants. Now, we can migrate anywhere throughout the country because it's our country. It's still one country. We built the whole country. But just because we move from one location to another location within these United States, that doesn't make us an immigrant. But they try to put that title on us so that we can feel Like we're not connected to the land so we can feel connected to other people outside of this country. So yeah, you had your numbnuts going around saying dumb stuff like that. And then you had some people from the DNC, well, this young lady from the DNC who came out and said this.
Okay, I'm gonna get real in this, and it's probably gonna piss some people off, but I'm okay with that, because if I'm not being honest, then what else am I doing? I just got back from the DNC where I signed up to volunteer, and when I initially had signed up to volunteer, Joe Biden was still the nominee. It wasn't yet Kamala Harris. I've worked in progressive politics for a long time. I have worked for many different Democratic candidates, Senate candidates, House candidates, even some Democratic organizations. And as the years have gone by, I found myself getting more and more disillusioned with the Democratic Party, although until now I've never said that out loud or anywhere public. And I just want to say that by saying this, I'm not necessarily saying that the other party is better. I'm just giving you my experience with working with the Democrats. Throughout my career, I've mostly done campaign fundraising, so I've seen it the way that it works behind the scenes, and I know that candidates spend 8, 9, 10 hours a day just calling donors and begging rich people for money. It's pretty much the only people that they talk to. I mean, of course, sometimes they have to talk to voters, but the majority of their time is just spent calling and begging rich people to give them money for their campaigns. And what this inevitably means is that we don't actually live in a democracy. It's just rich people calling the shots and having the access to talk to the politicians. They're the ones that basically get their ear all day. They're the ones that can help shape and prioritize what the politician actually focuses on. Even the politicians that detest this, that want to get big money out of politics, still have to play this game. They still have to make these calls. They still do the same amount of just calling rich people and begging them for money. And what unfortunately happens once they get into office, if they get into office, is that they soon realize that the money machine is so great and the seduction of power is so immense that they no longer adhere to these values. When I first got into politics, I thought that Democrats were the party of the people. And at the DNC this week, I felt like I was in a building with the most elite and out-of-touch people in the entire world. It very much felt like, let's just have a huge party and forget all of our problems because the vibes are brat.
Very much so. Give them cake in Circus. And what she's explaining is what she felt was like the DNC was just having a circus. Let's just have this big circus. Let's just have this big circus and offer nothing when it comes to policy, and offer nothing when it comes to our constituents, and offer absolutely nothing whatsoever but the DNC roast of Donald Trump and the political fluffing of Kamala Harris. Let's continue.
When I was there, I didn't feel any connection to real America or the place that I come from, which is the Midwest, Kansas City, Kansas, and Missouri. I didn't feel any connection to the people that I know right now who are struggling to buy their groceries or to pay their rent. The people who want to know what both candidates are going to do to materially affect change in their lives. And when I was there listening to the speeches, I felt myself feeling mad because I didn't hear anything about the economy. Definitely not in Kamala's speech, and not very much in the others as well. Instead, I heard generic platitudes, things like joy and respect and integrity, and what does that even mean? Let's make the military the most lethal in the world? I thought I was part of the anti-war party. I thought I was part of the party that fought for the underdog, that championed working people. When and how did we just become the party of academia and affluence? Because that's what we are right now. How can we ever say that we're going to fight corporate power or give a voice back to those communities that have been left behind when above the delegates on the floor in levels and levels and rings of suites with donors and corporations that we're literally looking down on the people below from above? That's what Chris Cuomo said, and he is absolutely right. You know, I went to the DNC this year hoping that I would feel reconnected to the Democratic Party, that I would have more of a sense of understanding of Kamala and her candidacy and what she stood for. But instead, I ended up leaving and feeling the opposite, more disconnected and alone than ever. And I don't think I can support Kamala Harris for president. I don't even know if I can call myself a Democrat anymore. I don't know who I'm going to be supporting, but I know it's not her, and for once, I'm not afraid to say it.
Yeah, family, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it just hasn't been looking good for Kamala Harris outside. It just hasn't been looking good outside. Now, when they were inside, oh, it was looking all good. Well, at least not that day, but it was looking all good, at least when the last day. It was looking all good. But when you go outside, it's not looking so good. And all the platitude of and running around talking about hope and the new hope and change and we're not going back and joy and rain, sunshine and pain. All the joy in the world ain't gonna change the fact that you have no support. The high is starting to come down and people realize that. Now that we done got through the DNC situation, let's come up to recent times, because Gavin Newsom in California was showing some hesitancy when it came to the reparations bill that was supposed to be passed and put on his desk. And Gavin Newsom did what he does. He went to his DNC, CBC bootlicks, and he said, you know what? Y'all better make sure that bill don't touch my desk. Because if I have to veto that bill, that's going to ruin all aspects that I have, all aspirations, that I have for my presidency in 2028. So I'm going to need you Negroes to get back there and kill that bill that has majority support. I'm gonna need you to kill that bill. And so that's what the DNC, the Democratic dummies, the DemoRats out in California, who has a super majority in legislation, in the legislature, who has a super majority, that's what they did. And we had our family out there making sure, this is Travis Smiley, the California Assembly needs to pass Senate Steve Bradford's SB 1403, the Freedmen's Bill, right now and put it on the governor's desk. It's time to put up or shut up on reparations. And, you know, Travis Smiley, I have my critiques on him as well. However, he did get at Obama about reparations or doing something specifically for the black community. So I got to give him that much. He's been consistent on that. Now, the fact that he's saying that they need to pass this, that is a fact. They should have. And we had people up there protesting and fighting, letting people know that, hey, if you don't do what you need to do here, that's going to have an effect on your girl Kamala. Or Kamala. However you want to say it. It's not a real name anyway. Anyway, let's hear what our family was doing.
The speaker needs to bring the bills up now. These are their bills. They have their names on the bills. They killing their own bills because they scared of the government. Now, listen, they gonna see this and they gonna get mad at us. They killing their own bills, then they gonna get mad at us. They killing their own bills because they scared of the government. We don't care.
We need to
bring the goddamn bills up now.
The governor needs to understand that the world is watching California, and this is going to have a direct impact on your friends Kamala Harris, who's running for president. This is going to have a direct impact. So pull up the bills now, vote on them, and sign them.
We have
We've
the
been
votes.
waiting for over 400 years.
The speaker needs to bring the bills.
And our sister was not playing when she said that. They need to know. Everybody is watching California. Everybody is watching California. They need to bring up the bills and they need to sign them. But let's continue. Let's look at this. We got people out there, like he said, we got the votes, and we have people out there telling them they need to literally bring it up for a vote. They waited to the last day of the session to pull this crap. But they pulled it. They pulled it. They absolutely did. Let's get to this clip here. Now notice, they're literally telling that representative to bring up the vote. And she's refusing. And so you're hearing folks say, get her out. Get her out. Because the representative is supposed to represent the people, and the people is there telling her verbatim what we want. And they're refusing. This is the disrespect that these bootlicking coons do to their constituents. This is the way they act towards us. Not the way they act towards anybody else, but the way they act towards us. And that's important. Keep that in mind, family, because literally this is a part of my bigger point. So please keep it in mind. They act like this with no one else but us. Let's continue. Notice what one of our sisters said in the background. We work with y'all in California in order to get this passed. So why aren't y'all working with us? We worked with y'all to get you into office. There are many people who are there who literally got out and did the black grassroots campaigning for these people that's supposed to be representing us in that state. However, they're seeing how these folks aren't representing us. They representing Governor Gavin Newsom. And I don't want you to think that this is just all about the black members of the legislation. No. We here to do what Eric Mays says that we're here to do.
I want the whole city to know it, and I'm gonna point fingers.
Gavin Newsom is behind this. So make sure that you put that into your memory bank, because when Gavin Newsom tried to run for president in 2028, we got to make sure that we're pulling up all the receipts on this man. And there are more receipts to come. But we got to make sure that everybody knows who Gavin Newsom is. Everybody knows that Gavin Newsom is against the black community, is against repairing the black community. And no, you do not get any of the black votes Because when you had the opportunity to make sure you did something significant for the black community that would have reverberated throughout all of the United States of America, you got your bootlicks. You got your bootlicks. Matter of fact, Eric Mays, go ahead.
I stick by it. I call you a handkerchief head Negro. I call him a handkerchief head Negro. And I'm sticking with it. Google it.
You got your handkerchief head Negroes to kill the bill. And yes, they're on the hook too. But Gavin Newsom, you are the big fish. They're the small fishes that's in your belly that you've swallowed up. No pun intended. But you're the big fish on the hook for this. You are the big fish on the hook for this. Let's continue.
Oh yeah. No more blue wave bullshit.
Family, I'm gonna pull that back. Does it look like she cares at all? Nothing anyone's saying. She's rolling her eyes. She's neck rolling. All this dumb shit. Watch.
Bullshit.
And this devilish woman smiles and walks away after all those beautiful people out there made it known that we want the vote to be put on the floor. She smiles and walks away. But see, that's not as egregious as this next man who literally mocks our folks. Blatantly mocks our folks. This assembly member did.
Give us the vote! 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 Give us the vote!
My fault, family. That one was a clip from a different angle. This member right here is the one who blatantly mocks Black Americans when we were saying, give us the vote, and we was telling him to put the vote on the floor. He actively, egregiously mocks us. So while we were sitting there being mocked by our own assembly men and women, being disrespected by our own representatives, our supposed representatives, one person, one Republican tried to bring that bill to the floor. No one in the CLBC, no one in the CLBC tried to bring it up to the floor. One Republican man by the name of Bill Asaley, I believe that's his name. Bill Asaley tries to bring up the bill, and I know that he wasn't genuinely trying to bring up the bill because he wanted up. He's against reparations, I'm sure. But this is how, that was a smart move. I don't want to say this is how smart they are. That was actually a real smart move that he did. He said, okay, let's call your bluff. Since no one wants to bring up the bill, let me bring it up. And these are the clips.
Mr. Asaley, we are not at that item at the moment. We are still working on the concurrence list.
Pick it up.
We're currently not on that item. We're currently working on the concurrence list.
So will we be getting to that item?
Well, we're currently working on the concurrence list at the moment.
Well, I'll make a motion that we take it up now.
Is there, Mr. Asaley is asking to suspend the rules to take it up. Is there a second?
Now notice, Bill Asaley made the motion to suspend the rules and to fast track that bill to the front of the floor. He couldn't get a second in the motion. He couldn't get a second to his motion. With all the people in the CLBC, not one of them, not one, seconded that man's motion. Let that be known. Let that be known.
No second motion.
Second.
Was there a second? Nope. There's no motion. We're going to go ahead and move to item number 109, AB 544.
Not 1 second. But let's go to this clip as well. This clip shows Bill literally trying to get the attention of the chair while everyone else is trying to drown him out. This man is literally banging his desk in order to get the attention to get the bills put to a vote.
What is your point of order? Not during resolutions. We're not doing resolutions.
Rule 109, when a member desires to make a motion, the motion shall obtain recognition as provided in Rule 108. That's our point of order.
You're on file 65. We're no longer on motions and resolutions. Your point is not well taken, Mr. Asaley. Your point is not well taken. Moving on, file item 65. Mr. Lowenthal, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to present SB 961 on behalf of Senator Wiener. Folks, we are in a traffic safety crisis. Over 4,000 Californians die every year in traffic collisions on our roadways, a dramatic increase from pre-pandemic levels, and speeding is a major factor in 1/3 of these fatalities. SB 961 mandates a common-sense speed warning technology that effectively reduces speeding.
Yeah, family. So apparently this was the wrong clip. The clip that I had, I must have deleted it because I thought that they were actually the same clip, but they're not. So this clip was him reading through the rule book, letting them know that he's able to do or place the our request to place it on the floor for the vote. And apparently they was trying to get a point of order out, so he was basically reading the rules to the damn chair as if the damn chair didn't know the rules. He was just trying his hardest to make sure that he didn't bring it up. But no one else seconded it. No one else seconded that vote. So from California Black Media, shout out to them, says Assembly person Bill Lasaley, Republican from Corona, cannot get a second motion to call reparations bill to the floor. According to two sources with knowledge of situation, 74 minutes left, He tried twice to bring the bill to the floor. And the third time he tried to bring the bill to the floor, that's when he was actually banging the desk in order to get the attention. I'm pretty sure that you guys have seen that clip. But not only did he do that, not only did he 3 times he tried to bring the bill down to the floor, he actually called out one of the Democratic coons who was blocking him and blocking the bill to actually bring the bill to the floor. And then the dude tried to play some flip-flop game talking about you vote for 3 strikes, but yet you want to try to talk about reparations. None of that even matters at this point in time. It matters, but it doesn't matter at this point in time. There's a time and a place. Right now, this man is bringing up reparations policies for the black community, and you are now the person blocking the bill. So you okay with him voting 3 strikes, but you're not okay for him to vote for the reparations bill. You're okay with not voting for the reparations bill and not voting for 3 strikes. Okay, I can understand not voting for the 3 strikes, but not voting for reparations. Nah, that makes you the villain now in this situation. And that's was the goal of Bill Lasaley. He wanted to make sure that the Democrats, the DemoRats, were looked at as the villains in this situation when it comes to California reparations, which is a smart play, to be honest with you. But let me play the video clip of him calling out one of the assemblymen who refused to second the motion or bring the bill to the floor for the vote.
This is Assemblyman Mr. Bryan. He's mad I brought up the reparations vote. So he's preventing me from speaking. And he's trying to block my access here. Why are you so upset?
You vote for 3 strikes, you put black folks in prison, but now you want to be a reparations person. But you won't vote for the bill. I supported the bill all session. Will you vote for the bill, Mr. Senator? Will you vote for the bill?
Bring it up.
Will you vote for reparations? I would love it.
Bring it up.
Let's vote for reparations together.
Bring it up.
You in, Bill?
Bring it up.
I didn't think so.
Bring it up. I'll vote for it. Bring it up. I'll vote for it.
And that was the nonsense that that man brought. That was the nonsense that that man brought. He wouldn't bring the bill, but when someone tried to bring the bill, tried to speak on bringing the bill, then he wants to make it about a different bill. But then when he says, will you vote for reparations? I'll vote with you. We can vote for reparations together. He's telling the man, well, bring it up. I'll vote for it. Bring it up. But what he did was basically turn his back on him because he knows that it was a bunch of BS. He said he supported the bill all session. No, you did not. Because if you supported the bill all session, you wouldn't have a problem bringing that bill that you supported all session onto the floor for a vote. That's how this works. But the Democratic Party don't want you to have reparations. The Democratic Party don't want you to be repaired because they know that if you are repaired, you may not need them to speak for you as a representative any further. This is exactly the exact reason why more and more black folks, more and more descendants of American slaves have been walking away from the Democratic plantation. Because even when you have an opportunity to show that you're for Black Americans, that you're for the descendants of American slaves, that you're for the foundational Black American family, you literally block the bill, and the person who you least expect to bring it up brings it up. Then you want to fight that person as if he didn't just try to bring up the bill that you don't want to speak about. So you bring up another bill to try to show the counter demonizing of the situation. Well, you voted for 3 strikes. Okay, that may be true. But guess what? Now he's trying to vote for reparations. What are you doing? This is the same thing that pissed off the Black grassroots when they had Trump at the Black journalist situation, and instead of actually speaking to a would-be president in the manner of what you're going to do for our community, how are you going to bring resources to us, what promises are you going to make to us, instead of speaking to that man with sense, these people wanted to do some type of gotcha moment for their party, for the Democratic shielding situation that they wanted for themselves. They wanted a job, they want funding, they want all that to come from the Democrats. So instead of speaking to Trump like they had sense, they did exactly what that assembly member did. Assembly member Brian or Isaac is one of the Brian Isaac or something like that. Exactly what that assembly member did, basically tried to speak about something that had nothing to do with the topic at hand.
This is Assemblyman Mr. Bryan. He's mad I brought up the reparations vote. So he's preventing me from speaking. And he's trying to block my access here. Why are you so upset?
You vote for 3 strikes? You put Black folks in prison, but now you want to be a reparations person. But you won't vote for the bill.
Notice how he said that nonsense. You vote for 3 strikes, but now you want to be a reparationist? I don't give a dang if the man voted for the death penalty to be brought back. I don't. If he was willing to vote on reparations, you should have brought the vote to the floor. Call his bluff, but no, he's calling yours.
Mr. Bryan, he's mad I brought up the reparations vote. So he's preventing me from speaking. And he's trying to block my access here. Why are you so upset?
You vote for 3 strikes? You put Black folks in prison, but now you want to be a reparations person. But you won't vote for the bill.
We should.
I supported the bill all session.
You bring the bill.
Will you vote for the bill, Mr.
Bring the bill.
Will you vote for the bill? Bring the bill. Bring the bill. And notice how he keeps walking right past that part.
Bring the bill.
Will you vote for the bill, Mr.
Bring the bill.
Will you vote for the bill?
Bring it up.
Will you vote for reparations?
Bring it
I would
up.
love it.
Bring it up.
Let's vote for reparations
Bring it up.
together.
How do you say let's vote for reparations together, but yet you yourself literally won't bring the bill to the floor that he's trying to vote on, that you are trying to vote on, if you yourself supported the bill the whole session, like you say? But the fact of the matter is, you didn't support the bill all session. We have to hold your feet to the fire in order to make sure that this bill got to where it was. The language was what it is today. And nobody else can wiggle their way into these bills. We have to do that. And now when it's time to actually pass the bill, you guys wait all session to pass the bill because you want to put it out for another year. Put it out for a few more years because you want to actually go back to the research process. Well, at least Gavin Newsom do. But this is what we're getting from these so-called Black representatives.
Bring it up.
You in, Bill?
Bring it up.
I didn't think so.
Bring it up. I'll vote for it. Bring it up.
Notice, he tells them, bring it up, I'll vote for it. Bring it up. This man turns his back on him. I'm going to play this clip one more time because we need to understand the gravity of what's happening within the Democratic Party when it comes to so-called representation. The so-called representation is literally standing against policies and bills that are meant for us to benefit the black community and make sure that foundational black Americans isn't left behind. You have people who look like us, black faces in high places, who are literally standing against these bills, while we have the people who they claim is the bad guys, the Republicans and all this other stuff. This Republican man is trying to bring forth the bill, and he's telling him, I will vote for the bill. The Democratic Party is trying to put us back on the plantation. And if you remember, during the time of slavery, it was the Democrats trying to keep us on the plantation. That's what they were fighting for. That's why the Civil War took place, because they wanted to keep their slaves. This is the facts. And of course, the Republicans, they wasn't doing it out of the generosity of their hearts. They fought the Civil War because they knew that the South was making more money than them, and there's no way that they can force the South to free their slaves. So they told the slaves to come on over and we'll give you the Emancipation Proclamation and free the slaves if you fight for us. But it wasn't because they wanted to, it's because the Republican Party was losing so badly that Abraham Lincoln had to go out and do that. Abraham Lincoln said himself that he did not want to put the Negro on the same footing as the white Americans or white folk. He wanted to assign white supremacy to him. So when we're looking at these parties, no, it's us that force them to do these things. When it's for us. But we have to be able to look at these folk who fight against us consistently. Black America has been voting Democrat consistently 60 plus years. And the condition has gotten no better, if not worse. So we're going to play this again because I want you guys to understand. They want to give you cake and circus, but they don't want to give you the bread. They don't want to give you the meat, the substance of life. They don't want to give you water. They don't want to give you what you need to survive in this country, what is owed to you to survive in this country, but they want to give you Planned Parenthood. They want to give you Planned Parenthood. They want to give you abortions and vasectomies. That's what they want to give you. So I'm going to play this one more time. And then we're going to hit this last segment and kill through it, because I want y'all to understand the significance of what happened in California and that and how it ties to the significance of the DNC convention and the Democratic Party as a whole. As a whole.
This is Assemblyman Mr. Bryan. He's mad I brought up the reparations vote. So he's preventing me from speaking. And he's trying to block my access to it. Why are you so upset?
You vote for 3 strikes? You You put black folks in prison, but now you want to be a reparations person. But you won't vote for the bill. I supported the bill all session. Will you vote for the bill, Mr. Senator? Will you vote for the bill?
Bring it up.
Will you vote for reparations? I would love it.
Bring it up.
Let's vote for reparations together.
Bring it up.
You in the bill?
Bring it up.
I didn't think so.
Bring it up. I'll vote for it. Bring it up. I'll vote for it.
Family, I also want to make this point before I move on. We got everything that we've ever gotten due to the fact that we forced the parties to do so. Both parties, not just one or the other. We, as a people, as the group of people, are the only people that has to force either party to do what's right for us. This is the facts. So the fact that this man was sitting there saying that he's willing to vote for it, and the Democratic Party legislation members of California ignored him and ignored all of their constituents, that should show you that they want nothing but to keep Black Americans in the hole. You're only good for their vote. That's it. That's all. Then the goddamn CLBC puts out this statement. We're not going to read all of it. But it says the California Legislation Black Caucus remains steadfast on our commitment to advancing the CLBC 2024 Reparations Priority Legislation Package, which is garbage. They authored something where it is literally not lineage based, don't have any type of resolutions or any type of redress for Black Americans in the proper way. The only two bills that could have done something, they shot down. The CLBC has chosen to concentrate our collective energy on the legislative priorities that the entire caucus has voted on, and those that positively impact Black Californians. No, you didn't. What you did was you decided to basically go on your own bills, and since you didn't have any hand in writing the bills that actually benefit Black Americans, you said, no, we're not gonna do it. We're not gonna bring it to the floor, especially because Gavin Newsom don't want us bringing it to the floor. They chose to concentrate their efforts on their agenda, because we were at the caucus yelling at them, telling them to bring it to the floor for a vote. This is what we were there doing. So they knew exactly what we wanted. They knew about this bill way before that day. But the treasurer, Isaac Bryan, tried to make it seem like they wouldn't, you wouldn't vote for the bill. No, y'all already said y'all was clearly not voting for the bill. There has been interest regarding the status of the Senate Bill 1403. The caucus was unable to participate in the legislative process collectively and only recently became aware of the concerns and issues with the bill. There is no concerns nor issues with the bill. You yourself just didn't want to put the bill through, because, you know, your Big Daddy Gavin Newsom told you not to do it. In its current form, one of the primary concerns with the bill is that it ceded legislative oversight authority, which is critical given the generational impact this legislation would have. No. See, you guys knew about this bill and didn't say nothing about it both of these bills. Didn't say anything about these bills until it was time for the bills to come to the floor for a vote. And then you guys decided, no, we're not going to do it. We're going to go with what Daddy Newsom says, and we're just not going to even touch it. We're going to kill the bill right here. We are well past the amendment deadline. Therefore, the decision has been made to continue working on this bill and reintroduce it in the next session. You shouldn't have to reintroduce it because it's there now. It was there on that day. Y'all had it ready to go, and you guys literally threw it in a pile where it basically goes into a black hole. It definitely goes into a black hole. And these are the enemies of Foundation Black Americans. These are the faces of the enemies in the legislation branch of California. These are the faces of the enemy in your California legislation Black Caucus. I don't know why that white man is there, but I'm pretty sure he has something to do with it too. These are the faces of your enemies, ladies and gentlemen. And they're all DemoRats. They're all dummycrats. And the people who they say are the bad guys couldn't get a second to bring our reparations bill to the floor. But we got to make it known. So guess what? Los Angeles Times had to make it known as well. California Democrats talk a big game on reparations. They're off to a slow start. Now, this is an article that is going to kind of do a fluff piece, so we're not going to get into this one. But we're going to move to this next one. This article here from New York Post says exactly what we've been saying in the Black Grassroots. Black Californians warn Newsom of direct impact on Harris after Dems kill slavery reparations bill.
I am livid right now through the fucking roof! California Legislative Black Caucus refused to bring extremely important reparation legislation to a vote today. Let me get myself because I'm too pissed. This is the fucking letter they wrote to the black constituents in California. There has been interest regarding the status of Senate Bill 1403. The caucus was unable to participate in the legislative process collectively and only recently became aware of the concerns and issues with. They go on to talk about Senate Bill 1331, and they basically said they didn't approve it. Organization Black Pact and the Reparations Collective is calling for the recall of the entire slate of the California Legislative Black Caucus. We ain't playing with y'all no more. Y'all done poked the bear and woke the sleeping giant. Y'all done pissed off the wrong people at the wrong time. Y'all need us to fucking show up for Kamala Harris. Ha! Good luck!
And she said what she said, and what she said isn't wrong. What she said was on the square of the grassroots within the black community. You need us. We don't need you. You need us to show up for Kamala. You need us to get in there and put you guys back into your positions so that you can get, the little power that you guys want to hold. And she's absolutely correct, and they're all correct. All the folks out there working on this to get them recalled, they should be recalled. They absolutely should be recalled. Because while we know this is what our Congressional Black Caucus look like, we now know that's what our California Legislative Black Caucus look like as well. Shout out to Black Alpha Network for posting this. This is what our CLBC looks like as well. So we know We know what's going to end up happening. And now they're figuring it out. Newsweek literally saying Kamala Harris trails Donald Trump in 5 new battleground polls. Oh, I thought Kamala was doing so wonderful. Everybody was so energetic. This came out September 1st, was updated on the 3rd. It just so happened to come out when? After the situation happened in California. See, there was some people that were still on the fence after the DNC conference where they just wanted to give you Circus. But while we was out there in California and we was out there asking for our bread, demanding our bread, and they tried to give us cake, oh no, that didn't turn a lot of people the wrong way. So I'm not surprised that she start losing in 5 different battleground states. Excuse me, 5 new battleground polls. She's not going to be able to win no battleground because the battlegrounds are all where Black Americans live, where we have the actual power. That swing vote that they speak about, that's us, baby. And I done brought that up several times over. How Latinos vote majority, they vote Republican. How Asians majority vote Republican. How white folks majority vote Republican. And how what ends up happening is when the Black community steps in, the Democratic Party tends to get a win. Kamala Harris like to say, when we fight, we win. When the truth of the matter is, when Black Americans get out to vote, they win. When Black Americans fight for the Democratic Party, they win. Look at what happened with Obama. That was because of the fact Black Americans got out and galvanized other Black Americans in order to make that moment one of the biggest moments in history when it came to the election of a president. And that's why she's saying, if we fight, we win. She believes that she can galvanize the constituents in the way that Obama did, but she can't. Obama is actually Black. Married to a Black woman with 2 Black children. Kamala is not. She cosplays as Black. Married to a white man and has 2 white children. How is that the Black family? So how is she able to speak to the Black family when she was locking up the Black family? You see, the DNC conference didn't do too much to turn people's heads away from Kamala when it came to the circus. We expected the circus, but when we were in California demanding our bread, they tried to give us cake instead of the bread, instead of the meat, instead of the vegetables, instead of everything that we needed to be just good on the land, to have substance here. Oh, no, they blocked it with all their passion. Mind you, they blocked it while announcing on the 28th of August, the Department of Homeland Security announces $380 million in additional funding to communities receiving migrants. So basically, they're going to be giving $380 million to these communities who have sanctuary cities. Is that not discrimination? Isaac Hayes Jr., in my last program, I showed him asking what did Kamala say she's going to do directly for immigrants or directly for this or directly for that. I never seen. You don't have to see it. They show you in action what it's going to be. But you know, while they're giving $380 million to the cities that's accepting these illegal immigrants, people who are breaking the law, what they give to the black community, they give you abortions and free vasectomies. While California lawmakers, the same California lawmakers who have a supermajority in the legislative, are talking about giving $150K down payment handouts to illegal immigrants to buy homes. What they give to the black community? Meg Thee Stallion. While California said, you know what? Screw that. You know what? Let's take it a step further. We're going to move towards 0 down payment mortgages for migrants. You know what they give into the black community? Little John. They're giving our bread to people who shouldn't even be in the country. They're giving our bread to the Ukraine, to Israel, to Gaza. They're giving our bread away to everyone and anyone else. But when they have the opportunity to feed the black community our bread that was owed to us, they block it. This should be the straw that broke the camel's back when it comes to black America. This should be the straw that broke the camel's back when it comes to black America. Let me be very clear here. The DemoRats should never ever see another black voter get another black vote until they come with tangible policies for the black community specifically. Not disenfranchised communities, not minority communities, not people of color communities, to the foundational black community specifically. Otherwise, we should be voting the couch. President couch, Vice President love seat. Because the couch has quite literally always had our backs. And I was watching a broadcast that our brother Black Alpha, I'm sorry, not Black Alpha, our brother Alpha Elite, was saying something so profound. And what he said was the black community has always had this relationship with our couch. Whether it goes back to our grandmas, when you go over to grandma's house and the house is set up a certain way, we all have that similar granny house set up where we got, you know, the big old TV that nobody could move. It was this, I don't know, weighed tons. It just wasn't movable, but it wasn't just a TV. It was a nightstand. It was a counter, a dresser, or whatever the heck she wanted to use it for. She had plants all throughout the house, and you know, you go to the couch, and almost any black person who has a black grandmother had this issue where grandma didn't want you sitting on the couch, especially if that couch didn't have a plastic cover over it. And if it did have the plastic cover on it, you could sit on the couch, maybe, depending on how old you were. But that couch has always had our back, whether it had plastic on it or not. We have that special relationship with the couch that no other people have. And it's not because we're lazy, as some people would try to tell you. How do people who build a country then turn around and get called lazy? And now they're trying to use that same talking point verbatim for the millennials and the Gen Xers and the Gen Ys and Gen Zs, because they're finding out that people are willing to quit their job when they don't get the respect that's necessary, when they don't get the funding and payments that is necessary to live, the proper wages and things like that. People are willing to walk away from their jobs, and the news, the media has been calling all of them and all of us lazy for that. So they use the same talking points in different arenas. But when it comes to the DemoRats, the Dummycrats, they shouldn't see another black vote until our agenda, our actual agenda, is met. We ain't talking about no goddamn LGBTQ rights. We ain't talking about no goddamn immigrant rights. We ain't talking about no goddamn abortion rights. We're talking about pure legislation that benefits the black community overall. A national foundational black hate crime bill. A national bill, the same way they did for the Asians. While Rolly Martin is running around here with Bussy on his computer talking about a bunch of lies, trying to break down all the different hate crime bills that were never for us. Even though they stole people's names, legacies, and history in order to give hate crime bills to everyone else. Like the James Byrd hate crime bill. It just so happened that my brother, my blood brother, is actually a bird. Not the, one with the wings. I mean, he's a part of the Byrd family. James Byrd was actually his cousin. First cousin by blood. He came out to Texas. We went to this museum. And I took a lot of different pictures because this one artist actually dedicated a whole section. I forget what it's called when you're a painter and you got all these paintings and they all kind of go together. It's a series, a whole series on them. On what happened in Jasper, Texas. And I have those pictures. Maybe one day I'll show you guys and we can go over that hate crime bill. Not maybe. We will do that. We'll do that on the live. But these bills, they don't address our issues, but they address everyone else's issues. They took James Byrd's name and used it for some LGBTQ hate crime. That wasn't really a hate crime at all. My point, if they're not coming with legislation, if they're not coming with policy, if they're not coming with funding, the Democratic Party should die by the wayside. And we could try again in 4 years. We could try again in 8 years. We can try again in 12 years. As long as it's necessary for us to have reparations, it'll be necessary for you to present them. And until you do, it won't be necessary for us to give you our vote. The only place our vote is gonna go is to President Couch and Vice President Love Seat. And with that being said, family and friends, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you can be notified whenever videos like this drop. Please make sure you hitting that like and share button so we can beat up the algorithm. Make sure we get this message out to the ears that need to hear. And if you have not done so yet, please go down to the link in the description to the change.org website and put your signature on the petition and the bill, the national bill for reparations that I authored, so we can push it to Congress. Bills like mine and bills like the ones that were basically killed off, they're ignored or they're killed off for one reason and one reason only. It's because the wording is correct and there is no way for anybody to wiggle their ass through. No one can pretend to be one of us and get reparations under my bill. No one could pretend to be one of us and get reparations under the bills that was killed in California. Senate Bill 1403 and 1331. These are bills that Black Americans need. So when you see people who are against the bills that Black Americans need, just so they can prioritize the bills that help someone else outside of the Black community, then they should no longer be looked at as a viable option. They should be looked at as a viable enemy. And with that being said, family and friends, please leave your comments in the comment section about this and let me know how y'all feel about this. And do you feel that I brought this in the proper context with the bread and the circus? Give them cake. And the cake is no longer working. Give them circus. The circus isn't working. We're going to need that bread, Playboy. That being said, the doors of the church are now closed. Peace, family.